Awesome work, my dude. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I got. He thought he was gonna be able to beat me on the ground, and I told Mattie C that I was coming here to take no L's. And if you got a problem with that, 1-800, call my bluff, baby.
Ooh. You heard it here.
On this team, we fight for that inch. On this team, we tear ourselves and everyone else around us to pieces for that inch.
Coming in at 320 kilobytes per second, it's time for Mattie C's Sports for you and me.
All right, everybody, Mattie C Sports for you and me. I got SKELATOR, Joe Giannetti on my show. My show's better than Caged In with Chris. Just playing with you, Chris. Shout out to you, too. How you doing today, Joe?
I'm doing good. Just hanging out. I got to go train later, run some MMA class, but just hanging out for now.
I'm surprised you're not tired, bro, because you drove all the way out to American Kickboxing Academy and you're still wide awake. How you doing that?
It was a lot of coffee.
They don't got dunks or nothing out there, man.
No, it's horrible. The first dunks that I found on my way home was in Illinois, random. But I stopped there and got some. But before that, it was just Starbucks, and I'm not like the biggest Starbucks guy.
So how was it training with all those big time pros over there? Because they're no joke over there.
Yeah, it was awesome. You know, I mean, I was getting my ass kicked every day, but I was learning from the best in the world, and they were helping me get better every single day. So as much as it was tough and at certain points I hated it, it helps.
Well, it definitely showed in your fight at Cage Titans July 2nd. You know, Marcus Andrusia, isn't that how he's pronounced?
Andrusia,
yeah. So Marcus didn't have a good night that night. He was in for a real shock. No offense to you, Marcus, but quick guillotine from you to the neck. That's pretty much to explain your fight. So were you happy with your result, or was there more you wanted to do?
I mean, I'm always looking to get in and out. I mean, it's kind of bittersweet. You know, before the fight, I'm like, if I can get in and out first round, that'd be great. Afterwards, I'm always like, oh, I trained 8 weeks for a minute and a half. So it's like lackluster almost. But, you know, I can't complain getting in and out. You know, even in the moment, there was things I saw that I could have done better. I've watched the fight over like 3 or 4 times already, just picking up things that I can improve on, and plan on fixing before my next fight.
And it's not like you're going against like trash per se. You're going against hard dudes. Like you're 12-4 for a reason, and you're fighting guys that are as hungry as you are, or maybe you're as hungrier than when they are. So I mean, like, I know that, you know, you really want to get back to the UFC, and I'm sure you will. That's no doubt. So what is it like that you want to do that you think you need? Do you want, is it you want to go like belt hunting, or is it like you want to keep it the way you're doing it now?
I mean, it really doesn't matter, you know. In August, I'm fighting for a second belt. That kind of just like opportunity fell on my lap. It was one of those things where Trevor beat one of my coaches, and, you know, I kind of want to get that one back for the team. And then he started chirping after my fight. So it's like, all right, well, now I got to slap you in the mouth for it. But it doesn't matter, man. I mean, I just want to keep getting better and keep winning fights. And when I first came back after my year layoff of just, you know, not competing, just training, I was just focused on improving, and that's all I'm doing. I'm just focused on improving. It's been working, and I'm only going to get better. And at first I was like, give me the toughest guys around, And now I'm fighting guys that you wouldn't guess, but like those are the toughest guys around because they get in the cage with me. I say yes to everybody. My opponent falls through. I say whoever says yes first, I'll fight him. And, you know, Marcus showed up that night. So as far as I'm concerned, Marcus is one of the toughest dudes around.
And it was funny because you said to Trevor, you said, run it. And I was like, so Joe makes all these dope shirts. I'm pretty sure I should tell him to put run it somewhere on your shirt.
I might have to. But that was kind of just like, you know, it was the day after my fight and this kid was already chirping at me. And it was one of those things where like, he knows that I already want to fight him. So it was just
that's
like
something
weird.
I didn't know.
Yeah. So it was just one of those things where it was like, you know, I'm down. And I think that, I don't know, maybe he had second thoughts. Maybe he thought that I wouldn't be so quick to respond, but there's really nothing else to say but run it. Like, let's fight. Let's settle it.
It was funny because you were quick with it. I was like, oh shit. You threw it on when you throw something on the story, that's serious.
Yeah, it was that was all I could say, you know, that was all I needed to say everything.
And right now you're on a 5-win streak right now. So I know that you're like, I don't give a shit. I just want to keep going. I don't care about the streak. I want to keep winning. So, I mean, you come back and, you know, you said you took a year off, but doesn't show like you took a year off. It's just like you came back to where you needed to be.
Yeah, I was training that whole time. I was, you know, I tell people that's why when I say it, I'm like, I took a year off of competing. But I was training harder than ever and I was focused on improving more than ever, you know, mentally, physically, technically. You know, it was funny because at the beginning it was like I needed to get stronger. And then it was like, okay, now I need to get into better shape. And then it was I need to improve my technique. And I did that step by step. And it was also like, I don't want to say I was burnt out, but I was training twice a day, every single day. And like now, and when I first took that year off, there was weeks where I was only training a couple times a week, just like listening to my body more. So like if I'm killing it all week and it's Wednesday or it's Thursday and my body is like, just stay in bed. It's like, I stay in bed and it's a thin line, you know, there's days where it's like, you're just trying to be lazy. And there's days where your body's like, no, I need the day off. And I learned what the difference was. And I just, you know, I listen to my body, even in my fight camps now. There were a couple of weeks at AKA that I took a day or two off because we were training so hard. My body was like, I need a day off to be able to put out that effort the next day.
Well, it showed, and you really hate exercise bikes, don't you?
I hate those fucking things, but they work.
Yeah, you that was no joke. Because you didn't really have to take long. You didn't even have to. There was no such thing as cardio that last fight.
No, that was in and out. Let's get it done. But I'm actually. So it's funny. The night before weigh-ins, I was doing bike, and I was on my last 20 seconds. And so the last 20 seconds, you just sprint all out, put your head down as hard as you can until you hear the bell. And there was probably like 4 or 5 seconds left, and the chain on my Aerodyne snapped. And so it was just like free floating. And so now the bike is dead. So now I'm in the market for a new Aerodyne bike for this fight camp. But I was like, it was a sign. I was like, it's my last bike of the camp, and the thing shit the bed. I was like, means it's time to go to work.
Oh man, that's a good one. All right, tell me about running out to Kate Bush. I know why. I kind of know why. But you know, if you were a character in that show, I know you don't want to be. What's her name? What the fuck's her name in that show? Redheaded girl. Oh,
Max.
Yes. You're not running up the fucking hill. I know that's not you.
No. But that song it was just a vibe. I mean, you know, the whole season was great.
That was a good season.
It was a great season.
That was some gory ass shit.
Facts. And I used to walk out to Whitney Houston, and, you know, it's been a while. So I think it was just like a similar vibe, but still a little bit different than what I used to do. And, you know, the crowd loved it. And it actually,
they did.
I don't know if they improved the sound system at Memorial Hall or what, but I just feel like it sounded so great, even to me, just walking out. And then to hear everybody else say it, they were like, it came through clear. It just, the moment was perfect. So it was really awesome to see.
You know me because of media. I was in the back room and I could hear it. I was like, oh, Joe's got some Kate Bush. He's been watching Stranger Things like a mofo, man.
That was what I did after weigh-ins. I weighed in, I went and ate, and then I came home and I watched like 4 hours of Stranger Things.
Yeah, that show is dope, man. I don't know. I didn't know if I could make that 2.5 hour show, but I bled through it.
They did a good job.
But you know, I know you've had some tough go-abouts in your fight career, and one that really points out to me was I interviewed Brant Moore before, who you fought in LFA.
Mm-hmm.
And he has nothing but respect for you. And, you know, he says, you know, how's Joe doing? I said, I see him all the time. He's doing good. So he's like, I don't know what I think he stepped out too. So my thing is like, was that a learning lesson with you to go to LFA and like try another place besides Cage Titans?
Yeah, for sure. And it was, I was at a point where I had made a bunch of improvements, you know, during COVID, training in my garage, kind of did the same thing where I was trying to focus on just improving. And I thought I had fixed all the holes in my game. And I thought that, you know, it was time to do my thing. And, you know, fighting guys like Brant and LFA, where like, it wasn't so much of a fight as more of a tactical battle. And he beat me on the cards and exploited the holes in my game. And I still wasn't fighting to my full potential. So it was just like a big learning curve, and it made me double down and like, all right, I know exactly what I need to do and exactly how to fix it now. Now I just have to go do it.
And I saw it, and it could have went either way. But I saw that you guys have respect for each other. You guys didn't like talk shit or nothing.
No, 100%. We actually, after the fight, we hung out at the hotel bar for like 3 or 4 hours, just like happened to both be there. We were just shooting the shit, hanging out. He was a wicked cool kid.
Yeah, he's mad chill. He was chill. But, you know, and then you had I didn't know that before Patty became what he is now, that you were about to fight him. Like, was he like a cocky fucking dude, or was he like or was he like cool? Like, it seems like he's just a cocky fuck.
No, he plays to the camera. He plays to the room. You know, when I was offered that fight, it was, you know, I got a call at like 9 o'clock at night. And I tell people all the time, it's so funny. I had just decided I'm not fighting for the rest of the year, taking the rest of the year off. I want to celebrate the holidays with my family. I think I just came home from training or work. I ordered a large steak and cheese sub. I had just opened it. It was on my table in front of my couch. And I get a text on Twitter, hey, you want to fight Patty the Batty at 155 in 12 days, 11 days, whatever it was.
I know it was short notice, yeah.
And so I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, I know everybody in England blows this kid. I've known his name for a while. I don't think he's the greatest. You know, he's good. I don't think he's that great. I still don't, but he's good and he's got the hype behind him. And I was like, if we can make this happen, this would be great for my career. So I jump on the scale. I'm 184. I'm like, all right, I've had way worse weight cuts. It's going to suck, but we can do it. So I text them back and I said, what weight? And they said, 155. Nobody else will take the fight. You're our last resort. I didn't even have a passport yet. So all right, cool. I'll do it. So the next day I had to drive into Boston next to the Garden, and I get my passport overnighted for like $200. And then I had to go back to next to the Garden the next morning to actually pick it up. I end up cutting the weight, and, you know, I was in the sauna. I got my weight down. We go out to England. I'm training there that week doing media. I get my weight down. I'm in the sauna, and like the last hour and a half, I just stopped sweating. Like, I'm in there, and, you know, it's a weight cut. It sucks. I'm tired, whatever. But I wasn't mentally broken. I was like, we got this.
Right.
And then I'm in there, and I stopped sweating, and I looked at my teammate, Johnny Cupcakes, and I'm just like, I'm fine. Like, I got it. And he kind of gives me a look like, okay. And then he puts, like, you know, the debit card down my arm, and it's like scraping me because there's not an ounce of sweat left.
Holy shit.
And I'm just like, So I pretend that like I didn't just see that. I stayed in there for like another hour, like trying to sleep, just so I'm like not thinking of it. So I'm like half unconscious for like an hour. He wakes me up and he's like, you got to get out. And I was like, no, I'm good. And he's like, no, you're not sweating. Get out. So I get out. He ends up texting Cage Warriors. He goes, listen, Joe's not on weight. We tried everything, but he's not sweating. And they're like, all right, what are you at? So there was 3 scales there. There was my scale, there was another guy cutting weight, and then there was the gym scale. You know, they do kilos, mine had pounds.
Right, I know, yeah.
And so with the weight translation, all 3 scales said 160. So I was like, all right, I'm 5 pounds over. And then, so we told them, and they said, no worries. You got to make it to the bus, come back to the hotel. We'll bus you over to weigh-ins and we'll make the fight happen. We'll figure it out. So I get over there. I'm like exhausted. I'm like, whatever. I'm pissed because I'm like, I went down from 184 to 160 and I just can't sweat out this last 5 pounds or 4 pounds. So I'm like, whatever. And then I step on their scale and I don't know whatever it was in kilos, but it ended up being like 164 in pounds. And so then I look up and I'm like, okay, this scale says I'm 8 pounds over. Like, what the hell's going on? And then, Patty starts chirping and he's throwing a fit. And then I sit down with Johnny and, Ian from Cage Warriors says, don't worry, he's going to weigh in. We'll make the fight happen. I go, all right. So I look at Johnny and I go, well, I'm literally not sweating. So I'm not going back in a sauna. Should I just drink water? And he's like, yeah, I mean, there's nothing coming out of you. So it's not like if they were like, go cut again, you could. Nothing's going to come out. So I had a Cliff Bar. I open it. I had a water bottle. I open it, and I'm like chewing the Cliff Bar. And they look over, and they see me eating. And they start losing it. Oh, you're already eating, you fat bastard. You came here for a vacation, all this shit. And so then, you know me, I'm already cutting weight. And now I got this British kid talking shit to my face. So I stood up and I was just like, listen, I was like, don't pretend I didn't take this on 10 days notice to save your fight and didn't just drop 24 pounds on 10 days notice. And like I've said to a bunch of people, like I did that weight cut so unhealthy just to try and make it happen that I was so weak when I came back from that supposed to be fight and I went back to lifting and training. I felt horrible. Like that was his best night to beat me. That was his best chance. And, he didn't want the fight, Cage Warriors said they were going to make it happen. I posted the screenshots when he was chirping me on Twitter. They said, we tried everything. Patty doesn't want to fight. And then it just became this whole big thing where he was chirping, saying one thing when in reality, the other was happening. And so it's just one of those things where like, I saw him in person. He asked me to go fight him at a bar and I showed up and it didn't happen. So then it was like, okay, well, now you're trying to shake my hand and be the bigger man, and then you're on Twitter trying to drag my name to the mud. So you're just kind of a punk for that. So ever since then, we just haven't been cool. And every couple of months, somebody will mention the both of us, or I'll do an interview and they'll tag him and tag me, and then he starts chirping me. But, there's really nothing I could say till I'm back in the UFC. So I just got to wait till I can get my hands on him.
Well, the thing that's funny is I'm so glad you told me this because you said the exact same things, but you have more of the story. Like, you're not going to get the whole story unless you actually physically talk to Patty or you. Now, he said the things you said, but you're giving detail of what happened. So I believe you, because I knew you went on short notice and you cut the weight. And I know Johnny too. Like, there's no bullshit in there. Johnny's one of the most honest people going. So,
and that's why I brought him.
I mean, shit. Like, and I'm sure you'll get that chance again, and maybe you'll fight in fucking Liverpool. Be like, hey, what's up?
I would love to. Nothing like a couple of my friends would be like, how cool would that be in Boston? And I was like, no, send me back to England for the UFC. Make it a main event. Make it a co-main event. I don't give a shit. I would love to silence that place or make them riot. Whatever happens, happens.
You probably do a little bit of both.
I'm with it. Masvidal Till style.
So, I mean, I know a lot of people call you out nowadays. I know it because it's just everywhere. And they're like, and then you actually physically like show it. Like, okay, I see you. I see your record. I see who you fight with. You're not just a person who doesn't have knowledge of the sport. Like, okay, you fight in this garbage league, you fight in this wrong federation. Like, what makes, like, it's like you giving them a resume. Like, I don't like your resume, fuck off.
100%. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, I just feel like I have a different point of view than most fighters because before being a fighter, I was a huge fan of the sport. So it's like I bring that fan mentality as far as like what kind of matchups fans want to see, what kind of fights fans want to see, what makes sense as far as rankings and things like that. And then, I came into the sport as a fighter or grew into a fighter. And, nowadays I got guys that want to do private lessons with me, kids that want to fight and they want me to coach them. So now I'm looking at this game as a fan, a fighter, and a coach. So I have these 3 different perspectives all wrapped into one. And, you know, and you got to be a businessman in this sport. I don't make $1 million. So I got to, you know, if I break even on a fight camp and I'm not in more debt by the time I get my hand raised, I take that as a win for now. But it's just like, yeah, I get guys calling me out. They fight in the middle of nowhere against trash cans. And they're like, you should come fight me. And it's like, so I need to come fight you in the middle of nowhere where I'm going to sell no tickets, get paid a horrible fight purse to fight somebody nobody's ever heard of, that's beat nobody that nobody's ever heard of. And then what? Because you said so? We can fight, but why don't you come to my place where I have fans, I sell tickets, I get paid a good purse, Cage Titans will take care of both of us. And I think that's the thing people get backwards is like when they call me out, I'm like, yeah, come to Cage Titans. It's like, oh, you want to fight in your backyard? I'm like, yeah, I want to make money and get paid. My friends will come to Plymouth. They're not going to go to the middle of nowhere to fight a nobody for horrible seats.
Right. And that's the problem is Cage Titans is one of the best atmospheres for an MMA thing. It's affordable. And they can't say shit like that because Joe Penafiel from Orlando, Florida flies here all the fucking time to come fight. And he's not afraid to fight anybody up here. Same with guys from New York, guys from Alabama out there. Mm-hmm. So the biggest reason that people say it for me specifically, you know, was the Josh Harvey fight I had a few years ago, went to a draw. And it's funny because I'm always like, you know, people got so mad about that going to a draw, but they didn't get mad when I landed 87 strikes and knocked Harvey out and woke him up and the fight didn't get stopped. So it's like, you can be mad that we went to a draw, but then people said, oh, it's because we were fighting in Giannetti's backyard. 2 of the 3 judges were from Maine, where Harvey's from. So it's like, I don't know the judges I don't know to this day, I don't know them by name, but I found out that they were from Maine, where you're literally from. So if we're in my backyard, why are the judges from your backyard seeing it as a draw? Right.
So, you know, that's just, you know, it's just an excuse. You know, it's one of those things where it's like Harvey tried to do his thing and then I beat the hell out of him, 10-8 him for the 3rd round and we went to a draw. It is what it is. Was I upset they didn't stop the fight? Yeah. I was a little bummed that it went to a draw, but it is what it is. And he's, you know, he's another guy. Come fight me in my backyard in front of nobody for no money. And it's just like, there's just so many reasons why guys say we can't fight. But like I've said to people before, I'm like, if you don't like me, like if it's personal, it's not about the sport or the money. Like you can come to my gym or I can go to your gym. We can put gloves on and figure it out. No cameras. But like, other than that, I'm fighting at Cage Titans because I do what I want and I'm broke. So I need to make some money to fight.
Yeah, man, you took that SUV all the way out to Cali, man. Mad respect for that. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, it was a trip for sure.
So, like with that, I mean, I know your love for Cage Titans is deep, and I mean, it was funny that I saw you and I walked by you with that bucket hat and that Celtics custom jersey there, and I go, "You ready tonight?" You were like, "Fucking right, I'm always ready for a fucking go down." And I was like, "Yeah, he's ready. He'll be done. He'll be done soon." And it sucks because you were like one of the last fights too.
I know.
That must suck, like waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting.
Yeah, waiting all night is like, it's terrible. It's definitely the worst part. And I feel like closer we get to the middle of the card, like mentally, I'm just like, oh, I'm ready to go. And then I have to wait another hour and a half. And I'm like, oh, I have to like stay in that zone the entire time.
So in August, are you looking to fight Trevor?
Yes. Me and Trevor Gudde will be fighting for the 170 title.
The Citadel and the AKA.
Yes, sir.
So my final to you is, so Rob Pico made you a fucking beer, and I'm pretty upset because I wanted my own. Because he was telling me, oh, I made Cupcakes beer. I made Joe's beer. I made Caged In. I said, Caged In, they're fucking, I'm a podcast just like them. You've seen me before. So shout out Rob Pico. I got to get to you and I need to talk to you.
Got to shoot him a message.
I do. And so are you selling your beers? You selling them on the DL?
No, so I don't sell them. I just give them out. Anybody that wants one, just let me know. If you want me to mail it to you, just send me some money for shipping and I'll mail them out to you. It's just one of those things that's cool for people to have. And they taste great.
Yes, except for the one Chris gave you that night.
Except for that, yeah, that one was foamy as hell.
I was like, oh shit, he got you good. I was like, you couldn't even have a second one open so he could enjoy a beer after.
Right?
So, Joe, I want to thank you for coming on the show. And if you people don't know, Trevor had a very interesting defeat last time. I forget, was it a dead? I forget what his ending was. It was a really rare, like,
Dead orchard.
Yes, an angry orchard. And then, so Joe Giannetti, aka Skeletor, is going to fight Trevor. So, Trevor Gudde, good old Gudde, good.
Yes, sir.
So, what is that? August 27th. 7th. Yes. So August 27th, everybody, Cage Titans 55. Jojo Giannetti, Skeletor is gonna be there. He usually says what's up to everybody. Respectable dude. Yeah.
Much as I can.
Or he'll walk by you if he don't like you.
Facts.
But Joe, thank you so much for being on the show and kick some ass training.
Will do. Anytime. Thank you.
Thank you. Everybody, Mattie C Sports. So thank you, JoJo, and I'll talk to you.
I'll catch you later.
Thanks for watching Mattie C's Sports for You and Me. Make sure to follow Matty Cameron on Twitter at MattCameron23 or follow him on Instagram at MattieC23 or subscribe to his YouTube channel, Mattie C's Sports for You and Me. Once again, thanks for watching.